So speaking of Israel with Ian Carroll and Epstein and all that, I want to show this. So this is an article published in Newsweek. This was back in August 2014, originally published, updated February of 2016. And they wrote Israel flagged as top spy threat to the United States in Snowden NSA document. So back in the 2010s, that decade, even they knew, even Newsweek, a very credible publication in the establishment, knew that something was up with Israel, that the Mossad agencies, the Netanyahu regime, the country that is surviving itself on blackmail and deceit is not to be trusted. They even said it back then, before October 7th. So Israel was singled out in 2007 as a top espionage threat against the United States government, including its intelligence services, in a newly published NSA document obtained by fugitive leaker Edward Snowden, according to a news report on Monday. The document also identified Israel, along with North Korea, Cuba, and India, as a leading threat to the infrastructure of U.S. financial and banking institutions. The threats were listed in NSA's 2007 strategic mission list, according to the document obtained by journalist activist Glenn Greenwald, a founding editor of The Intercept, an online magazine that has close relationship with Snowden, a former NSA CIA contractor who fled the United States with thousands of top secret documents last year. So, you remember that this is what made Glenn Greenwald made him so popular, because he was the lead journalist involved with the Snowden case and interviewed him, and we know about him. And he got kicked out of his own publication. He got kicked out of his own publication because his own publication sided with the Democratic base, and Glenn Greenwald was making critical accounts and critical reports about the Hunter Biden laptop and about Joe Biden. So he was kicked out of his own publication. And Edward Snowden had to leave the country. It wasn't voluntarily being exiled to Moscow. He had to, because he revealed critical documents that the NSA, all these intelligence agencies, through the Patriot Act, were spying on civilians, data collecting, and using it against you. In this new document, Israel was identified by the NSA as a security threat in several areas, including the threat of development of weapons of mass destruction and delivery methods, particularly ballistic and nuclear capable cruise missiles. The NSA also flagged Israel's WMD and missile proliferation activities and cruise missiles as a threat. So there were weapons of mass destruction. Who would have thunk it? It just wasn't in, the sand dunes of Iraq. Turned out it was our ally nation. Our good buddies. The safe haven for the Jewish people, as they're beating up Jewish people to keep them afloat. The greatest secular democracy in the Middle East, as we overthrow every other democracy. In a section of the document headed Foreign Intelligence, Counterintelligence, Denial, and Deception Activities, countering foreign intelligence threats, Israel is listed as a leading perpetrator of espionage and intelligence collection operations and manipulation influence operations against the United States government, military, science and technology, and intelligence community organs. I wouldn't suspect that, considering Israel's bought every politician in the White House, that they're cracking down on peaceful protesters in college campuses, threatening to revoke their citizenship and their student visas, restricting their rights of the First Amendment. I wouldn't consider that problematic. I wouldn't consider that manipulation and influence, considering in Israel, they have troll farms that are operating places like Wikipedia. to push propaganda, to push the Zionist agenda ahead of everything else. The term manipulation influence operations refers to covert attempts by Israel to sway U.S. public opinion in its favor. In this, Israel has dubious company, according to the NSA. Other leading threats were listed as China, Russia, Cuba, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, France, Venezuela, and South Korea. But amazing, Israel was the top of the list. And they knew this back in the 2016. And about the same time that Israel started paying more to the Trump administration. All the times that they accused Donald Trump of being a Russian asset, he was actually an Israeli asset. He was actually being paid and being a shill and being a puppet for the Israeli establishment. But nobody questioned that. Nobody questioned that because the news media is also bought by Israel. The Democratic Party also has operatives that work for Israel. Israel has similar company threats against U.S. infrastructure, according to the NSA document. Under a section headed Mastering Cyberspace and Preventing an Attack on U.S. Critical Information Systems, Israel, India, North Korea, and Cuba are identified as FIS, Financial Banking System Threats. Israel also appears on the list of countries believed the NSA to be enabling electronic warfare producers and profilators. The new document again underscores the, schizoid relationship between the U.S. and Israel, which cooperate closely in military and intelligence operations, but also aggressively spy on each other. A previously released Snowden document said that one of the NSA's biggest threats is actually from friendly intelligence services like Israel. So if you ever wonder why we're good allies, why exactly so many countries have formed an alliance with Israel, it's not to do anything with Jewish people, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to burst the bubble, and this is I'm not criticizing the Jewish faith. I'm not attacking people on that. I have no qualms about, Judaism or any of that. Actually, the people that are the most anti-Semitic are the Zionists that are defeating Judaism to conflate it with their own malice agenda. But the reason why so many of these countries form an alliance is because of blackmail, because of deceit, because the Mossad has dirt on the CIA has dirt on them, just like our governments here in Canada has dirt on everybody else, and we have Israel has dirt on us. So that's what makes us good partners, good allies, threaten each other. It's nothing to do with cultural similarities. It's nothing to do with trade. It's about blackmail, which is truly what runs this country with the mafia men that we have in control. Another revealed that the U.S. intelligence estimate ranked Israel as the third most aggressive intelligence service against the United States, behind only China and Russia. Well, because it's Newsweek, I guess they have to pander a bit to the Pentagon a bit, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to write this article. In a series of articles last May, Newsweek reported that Israel has been caught carrying out aggressive espionage operations against American targets for decades. An allegation ferociously denied by Israeli officials, who insisted that Jerusalem stopped spying on the U.S. after the late 1980s arrest and conviction of its secret agent, Jonathan Pollard, a U.S. naval intelligence analyst. Oh, we stopped in the 1980s. It's okay. Again, it's like Zionists when they say, no, we stopped, enslaving Palestinians after a certain date. We tried to give them their land, that they didn't want it because they're a bunch of ferocious animals. Like they just don't want freedom. Over the weekend, the German magazine Der Spiegel reported that Israel eavesdropped on Secretary of State John Kerry's cell phone conversations during Middle East peace talks in 2013. According to a July 2014 piece in the New Republic, The Kerry team spoke more carefully over cell phones, believing that Israelis might be listening. The State Department had no comment on the Der Spiegel allegations. You know why? Because the United States spies on its allies. The Obama administration tapped into Angela Merkel's phone. We tapped into all the communications around the globe. Why? Because again, the whole world runs on blackmail. The whole world runs on blackmail and deceit. That's all we have. That's all these bloodthirsty billionaire monsters have to control over us. That's why they need the Patriot Act to spy on Americans and deceive them and blackmail them, manipulate them to stay in line, to stay on course. Washington's protective relationship toward Israel is heavily influenced by its close cooperation in intelligence operations against common Middle Eastern threats, such as Iran, Syria, terrorist groups, and the Palestinians. Isn't it kind of interesting that America and Israel and other allies of Israel have the same common enemy? Isn't it kind of a coincidence? Isn't that kind of too interesting? That we'd have the exact same enemies, that we exactly attack areas that places like Israel demand us to attack. Makes you think. Really makes you think. Citing NSA documents, Greenwald's piece in The Intercept says the relationship has on at least one occasion entailed the convert payment of a large amount of cash to Israeli operatives. The NSA and its British counterpart also rely on U.S.-supported Arab regimes, including the Jordanian monarchy and even the Palestinian Authority security forces, to provide vital spying services regarding Palestinian targets. Over the last decade, Greenwald added the NSA has significantly increased the surveillance assistance it provides to its Israeli counterpart, the Israeli Signet National Unit, ISNU, also known as Unit 8200, including data used to monitor and target Palestinians. In many cases, the NSA and ISNU work cooperatively with the British and Canadian spy agencies, the GCHQ and the CSEC. And by working cooperatively, all that means is, hey, we run a huge spy operation, we got dirt on you people, and you're going to work for us. That's what they mean by cooperative. Because we don't actually do anything cooperative for the sake of cooperation. We're doing this under the guise of an allyship when it's really deceit and blackmail, because we're ruled by mafias. We're ruled by mafias that don't give a crap about what they say, and they lie to you, they deceive, they blackmail, they gaslight you, they then buy up politicians to change legislation, which is why college campuses are being cracked down for peaceful protests, when literally we have mafia men that are so ghoulish that they'll attack anybody, that they're creating wars, that they're creating terrorist groups, that then we send our military men and women overseas to then fight that creation. That is incredible, ladies and gentlemen, that this was written in Newsweek. That is unbelievably incredible that this was said back in 2016. And nobody really paid attention to this. No one was allowed to pay attention to this. As Ian Carroll stated, that isn't it funny that before October 7th, you couldn't say a word about this. Nobody said anything about this, but there was a lot of people, Glenn Greenwald, obviously, Max Blumenthal, Dan Cohen. There was many people that have done investigations, documentaries. Abby Martin even went to Israel and interviewed a bunch of Zionists to ask what they felt about Palestinians. And they all said the most gruesome, inhumane, unspeakable things. What they wanted to do to Palestinians. So anytime you hear a pro-Israeli or a Zionist telling you otherwise, or telling you that, oh, we're doing this for safety, we're doing this because we want to defend the country, blah, 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 blah. This is all an operation. This is all an operation, which makes me think October 7th had to be some sort of manufactured stunt. Had to be. Because why else would you be paying a terrorist government that you know is going to uprise? You know that they're going to fight back. Why would you send suitcases of money? That's what Netanyahu and his Likud government did to the Palestinians. They sent suitcases of money to Hamas. Why? Because Hamas was going after the liberation process of Palestinians. They wanted this terrorist group. They had a music festival right at the gates of Gaza, hoping that it would prevail into some sort of attack that they can use and exploit to further means the genocide, to further means the complete onslaught, slaughter of Palestinians and their territory. And now they're doing it even more. They're cutting off the electricity and further starving these people because they want them all eradicated. They want them all eradicated. They want to steal their land, steal their resources, and rule as a supremacist state. And if you think all of that is a lie, go look at the images and videos of people in Israel, Jewish citizens that are advocating for peace, that are against this war, that are against the genocide, being beaten up by Zionists. Tell me that has something to do with Judaism. Tell me that all this is supposed to help out the Jewish faith. Tell me that this is helping people dealing with the Holocaust. Because what we're seeing is a complete onset slaughter by maniacs using Judaism as a front, as a charade, as a cover to allow for this to continue. Because all they have is deceit and blackmail. That's all they have to keep this colonization project afloat. This is brought to you by Ground News, the versatile news app and website that gathers all the world's media on one place and allows users to compare coverage. Ground News gives you the access of thousands of sources worldwide, allows you to see the media blind spots, and even gives analysis on the bias and factuality of those stories. Weave your way through the mainstream narratives, the corporate lies, and have total access to find complete information that you deserve. Click on the link below and get 15% off a subscription. Be critical, be informed, be ground.